Hey guys, my name is Darlene Sacco and welcome to The Well. So we're gonna skip the formalities and just jump right in. So being 30. Being 30 is wild. Man, it is wild. It is, I still can't fully comprehend it. It's just one of those things where it's like, I'm 30. There's 10-year-olds that I am 20 years older, which means I could be their mom. I'm a little bit having a crisis. I'm a little bit. I just still don't see myself as 30. I keep thinking that I'm 25. So when someone asks me my age, I go to say I'm 25 and then I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I'm 30. And it's just like one of those weird things where it's like you almost want to throw up afterwards, but you don't. So yeah, it's just so crazy that I'm 30. I just turned 30 in November, and I remember I had just broken up with my ex. I didn't have a job. I was applying to go back to school. I didn't get in. It was just this whole big thing. I was at a huge crossroads. I was like dragging my feet on doing this YouTube channel, though I was called by God, and that story is quite the story, so I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. But I was definitely like dragging my feet, and I was like, I can't believe I'm 30 and this is my life. I'm coming to terms with it, so it's a wild ride so far, the whole 2 months into it. Yeah, I've just been like looking back on like my life and my like early 20s recently, and it's just been a wild ride to look back on those. Like I definitely squandered my 20s in the absolute worst way. I did, you know, my whole motto was live fast, die young, and I lived up to that motto nearly almost to death. So I can't really be too mad about where I'm at 30 because my 20s was just like an absolute mess. So I was insane. I can't really blame anyone else other than myself for where I'm at 30 years old. So here I am. I'm 30, flirty, and ready for my birdies. Like birdies as in like ready for people to just flip me all the birds for all the things that I say that offends them. Oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't say that. It's also really cute. So I go to a lot of like young adult events. Usually the young adult groups are like, they're mostly like 23 to 25-year-olds. Those are like the majority, sometimes younger. So like the early 20-year-olds, like I'll be like complaining about something and complaining about me being 30. And it's so cute because like they try to like give me advice. Oh, you're only 30 and like, oh, don't feel bad. And it's like I remember being in my early 20s and talking to like people in their late 20s, early 30s, and I was trying to give them advice. I remember them being like smiling at me with that like endearing, like, you're cute. Like how like a grandmother like kind of like looks at her grandchildren when they're doing something just asinine. And it's just kind of like that, like, bless your heart, child. But no. They would look at me like that and I'd be like, what's their deal? Like, I hope I'm not like that in my 30s. Then you become that way. They told me it was gonna happen to me. They, you know, were like, you just wait until you're 30 and then you'll understand. And never had truer words been spoken because it's just this weird thing that you don't really understand until you're 30. Because if you notice, like, I don't know, for me, because I was a nut. I was an absolute nut. So like for me, I like grew every year. I was so different when I was 27. That was only 3 years ago. So like when, you know, people are like, oh, I'm only 5 years younger than you. It's like, yeah, that's a lot of time though. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of years and a lot of days and a lot of like big events that happen to you and just make you sort of bitter yet also awesome. Yeah, that's what being 30 is like. I'm coming to terms with it. I'm coming to terms with it. So enjoy your 20s. Don't be insane. Don't squander your 20s because when you're 30, you're gonna look back and be like, man, I wasted like prime time on some dumb things. Dumb things. But I'm here and I'm 30 and I'm flirty. So get at me. Speaking of being flirty, I'm also single. So you're probably wondering like, oh my goodness, how is it being single and 30? Like, woo! I tend to not like to think about this because it's awful. It's awful for me. I'm not enjoying it. It's like eating cake and washing it down with a ice cold glass of water. It's like you can delight in it, but then you're just like, ugh. It's like it's good, but then it's not good, you know? It's like missing something. And that something is my vocation. I'm just ready for my vocation and my last sacrament. You know, in these modern times, so many young people say they aren't ready for marriage. Marriage seems like a lot, or that it's just not the right time for marriage. Like all these excuses. And that is such a secular way of viewing a sacrament, because the secular world doesn't believe in sacraments. Well, we do, folks, and we should be knocking on heaven's door for it. Your life should always be open and ready for a relationship, for that sacrament. It's like saying, I'm not ready to take CCD or religious ed or prep, whatever they call it nowadays, to receive the Eucharist. That just sounds silly, doesn't it? Like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not ready to receive the Eucharist right now. Oh, I'm sorry. The Eucharist scares me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not ready to receive reconciliation yet. It sounds so silly. Like, you sound silly saying it. So when you say this about marriage, that's literally the equivalent, because it's a sacrament, and we should just be like demanding the sacrament from God and be like, God, I want it and I want it now. Like, please, like, and just knock until it's annoying and he answers finally. You know, that's a whole Bible verse. I love that Bible verse because that's me. But ultimately, that's what you're saying. We've let the secular world condition our minds to view marriage as just a thing to do, and not as this wonderful, beautiful sacrament and gift from God. That is what marriage is. So unfortunately, people now are waiting until they're older and older to get married. Meanwhile, mental illness is up, loneliness is sky high, people are viewing dogs and cats like children. I mean, don't get me wrong, like my cat is very dear to me and he is like a child to me, but he's also just an animal, so there's that line. We've lost that. It drives me insane. Sorry, not sorry. We've replaced children with animals. They prefer an animal over a child. This is how awful it has become. This is what waiting until you're older and older to get married brings. There are more miscarriages, more infertility. There's so many issues that we are seeing and that everyone is ignoring. Everyone is ignoring this. Like, we're just kind of like, oh, this is normal. Or, oh, this is the product of, like, bad government. No, it's not. It's actually a product of, like, people lying to you and telling you that family isn't important and getting married is just a thing to do. On top of all of that, dating right now is just awful. And I'm not talking about, like, because of the pandemic. I'm talking about even pre-pandemic. It is awful. And let me tell you, I just don't understand what's happening to the world. It's a mess. It's like people forgot how to date someone. It's like people forgot how to flirt. Like, I don't understand it. Like, it's this weird thing where we're all dating each other without flirting with each other. It's like this weird casual affair now where it's like, oh, I have to, like, not show you interest on my first date. So how can I not show you interest the best way? So number one, let me just, like, never make eye contact with you even on the date. So it's just, like, a lot of, like, that's really funny. Yeah. I really, really like marketing. Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's literally like going on a date. It's like they don't even make eye contact with you. We've forgotten how to flirt, and it's really sad. And we've just forgotten how to go on a date. Like, I feel like, what are you doing? How can I make this as casual as possible? I don't want a casual first date. If I wanted a casual first date, I'd just go to a social event and talk to you. It's just this weird, like, oh, we gotta keep it casual, drinks only, coffee only, nothing too serious. And it's like, I'm already not interested. That's just how I feel, because I'm like, if you're that interested in me, I wanna see that you're interested in me. So I am worthy enough for a really good special first date. So that way, when I'm like, oh, our first date was like this, it's not just like, oh yeah, we had a good first date and I wanted a second one. It wasn't until the second date that I actually started flirting with your dad. No, like, what? I want someone who's like interested in me and lets me know that they're interested in me by flirting. This is a thing. It's not a bad thing to flirt, everyone. I just don't know how we've lost the flirting aspect of dating and just like relationship. Flirting is showing you interest. So why is there no flirting on first dates? Don't compromise, ladies, okay? If your man is not flirting with you on your first date, ditch him. Ditch him. Man, I am fired up. I am fired up. So we've forgotten how to flirt, we've forgotten how to impress each other, and we use all these like superficial things to impress each other, like, I go on a hike every Saturday. I know the greatest hiking places, you know? Way to stay trendy. And it's like, impress me with your personality. You know what I mean? But it's like, impress me, like, what are you interested in? Like, what is something so, like, wild about you? So, like, you know, what do you collect? I mean, obviously, I collect a little something. It's like, no one talks about that. It's like, oh no, that's third date material. Why is it third date material? I want to be impressed by you on the first date, not like, yeah, like I want to see him again because like I want to see if it's gonna go anywhere. Like it was a good first date, but like I think I want a second one. No, you should be like, dude, this guy is amazing. I want a second date. Like I want to go on a second date with him because I'm actually like so excited and like he's a great guy and I want to be on a date and be near this guy. Like, I'm totally going on a second date. Not like, I mean, you never know after the first date. You should know after the first date. And a second date, again, should not just be like, okay, well, yeah, we'll just see how it goes. No, it should be like alive and like, oh, you're like excited. Like you're getting like butterflies and you're like, I'm so excited to see him again. If you don't feel that way going on your second date, just don't go on the second date. Just call up the guy, tell him, look, I'm sorry. I thought I wanted a second date, but I just realized that, you know, I'm really just not interested. End of story. Because we've lost the whole flirting and impressing thing. So it's awful in the dating world right now. It's a wild time to be single. It is a wild time to be single. It's not fun as women. And unfortunately, the reason why this is happening is because we let it happen. Like we let guys just kind of like not impress us on a first date and we allowed this casual dating to happen where it's like no flirting, very casual, keep it simple, to the point. Let's just talk about mundane, small talk. No, I don't want small talk. I want like fun, exciting, like take me to a fair, win me a prize, like take me on a date where you can impress me. So if your first date, if you can impress someone over coffee, you must be a magic man. He's a magic man, yeah! Oh! Anyway, you must have some magical, like, wooing skills if, like, literally you can impress a woman by getting coffee. Because what is impressive about coffee? I'll tell you what is impressive. The actual coffee is more impressive than your date. No, but seriously, like these mundane dates and everyone's like, why am I single? Why can't I like find someone to date? And it's like, because no one's showing you interest and you're bored. It's just a boring world out there right now in the dating realm. It's a wild time to be single, man. Things are just so disordered. So being single through all of this is a definite cross for sure. So to my fellow single sisters and brothers, I am right there with you, man. I feel you, girl. I feel it. I feel it. Hold these men up. Hold them up to impress you and be intentional with you. You deserve that. You don't deserve mundane dates. If they can't give you a really good date on the first date, you don't want them. And men, if women don't want a really fun, interesting, like impressive first date, you don't want them either. Don't settle for boring. Settle for engaging and fun, intimate, deep relationships. Let's do it, man. Man, where are the real men? Where are the real men? Talking about dating in the 21st century is like gagging yourself with a spoon. It's also especially hard being single and traditional. It's like finding a needle in outer space. Not only is it hard being single and trad, but it's a feat just being trad. And you know, I just became a traditional Catholic in October. I had like started to become more traditional in early 2020, but like I really became like TLM goer, like traditional Catholic in October. And once the truth is just like revealed to you, like when God gives you that grace to just see the order in things, it's really hard to go back. I just was given the graces to realize that God has a specific order to things and this beautiful design to things. And then in October, I started going to the Latin Mass because... Yes? Yes, baby? What do you want? You want to be in my show? This is Augustin. He's a kitten. He's 5 months. Good old Gus. Right? Okay. Now pipe down. I forgot what I was saying because I was interrupted by this fuzzy bean. He is so cute. So I was talking about like going to traditional Catholic Mass. So with all of that going on in like the church, and I fully embrace being trad, you know, you just start to see that the world is completely void of traditional values. And it's a mess out there. It's like a toddler's playroom on Christmas morning. That's how big of a mess it is. So do we want to keep settling for this mess of a world of dating and lack of marriage and being single and 30? And do we want to settle for this, or do we want something better? That's what we have to ask ourselves, because what's happening now is not working, and we're seeing it not work. So that's a little bit about me being 30, single, and traditional. If you are also 30, single, and traditional, no, you are not alone. We will make it through these wild, messed up times if only we can just cling to our Lord. So keep trudging through, and please don't lose your conviction. God is sending us our spouses. We cannot lose hope in that. And hopefully more and more people will start to follow God's order and will and his design, so that our children's generation won't have to deal with this loneliness epidemic that has plagued us and this just awful, awful dating world. There is always hope. So keep on fighting the good fight, my friends. Please keep on fighting the fight. We'll get through this. We will get through this. I have such strong hope that the trajectory of things are going to change. But we need Catholics that are feeling the same way I'm feeling, speaking up more and demanding more and holding each other up to higher standards. So get out there, my brothers and sisters. Get out there, spread the truth, be fully, authentically alive in your Catholic faith, and fully embrace your Catholic faith. Look into it more. Fully be it, authentically, in God's design and in God's order. You guys are the best. If you could please just hit me a like, hit me a comment, hit me a subscribe, because that's the English language. Thanks again for coming to my channel and staring at my face. I hope you have a wonderfully blessed day, and I will see you on my next episode. My name is Darlene Sacco, and this has been another episode of The Well. God bless you. It's not time for grubby yet. Yeah. Oh, you were just a king of the world.